about Mondul coffee is the environment, the proximity to the Mondul mountain and the cultural people around it, and the soils. This farm looks great.
Mondul Coffee Estates is located on the slopes of Monduli. Right now we're about 23 kilometers away from the city of Arusha. The full size of the estate is 511 hectares, and currently we have 230 hectares under coffee. We have just under 200 employees working on Mondul Coffee Estates, and we do house a large majority of these employees on the farm here. We have a very good staff. It's a sense of community. Mondul Coffee Estates Football Club is a very important part of our staff's lives here. We'd rather have our employees, come in after work and play football and do something that brings them together as a community and enjoy stuff together. And the whole farm is really supportive of the football team.
And the people, what is unique about the people is the Maasai community. They are known to be masters of cultural heritage. The initial investors came up and teamed up with to have a coffee plantation. So the people still wear traditional clothes, like during harvesting, you're still able to see cultural practices going on around. So that is very unique.
Coffee is very labor intensive. There's a lot of work that comes into the one cup of coffee that you have in your morning, and I think a lot of people forget about actually how much work is involved with one cup of coffee here, and the process that coffee bean has gone through from the beginning to the final stages there.
We start from the seed of coffee, of the Arabica, and we put this seed in the nursery in the warm period. It takes 30-45 days to germinate, and then it continues to establish seedlings in the nursery for another 8 months. So we basically spend about 10 to 11 months in the nursery producing seedlings before we plant it out in the field. And once we plant it out in the field, it takes another 3 years for the tree to reach mature stage. Once mature, we can keep the tree as long as possible, as long as our lifetime. Some of the trees we have in the field are older than all of us. The coffee, after the trees mature, we have a flowering season. From a flowering season, there is a fruit development. It's beginning to fill. It's beginning to show what is inside, taking shape. From fruit development, there's maturity of fruit and harvesting. From harvesting, again, it goes back to start another season. Coffee harvesting brings in the major employment. We train the coffee pickers to select only the red ripe cherries. With the tradition here, they call it the color of the old man's blood. It's not light red, it is deep red. That means it's fully ripe. And when you squeeze, the juice comes out. That shows the sugar levels are right.
Once the pickers have picked their coffees, there is the evaluation of the quality of the harvest by each picker, which happens at the factory. The ones which are quality approved cherries are fed into the hopper. From the hopper, they move into gravity separator, which separates the fruits, the red ripe cherries, in terms of density and also size. Pulping is the removal of the red ripe skin, that is skin which is removed, separated, so that you get the two beans. After that, fermentation tank. So the next stage is washing, and we've got a long channel of washing, and the fermented coffee is washed against gravity. After washing, coffee is taken for drying on the drying tables, and we use the sun. We do not have mechanical dryers. As we proceed on with drying, there's also improvement on quality by removing the defective beans that are visual to the workers on the drying area. We slow down drying by bulking the coffees, and it should not dry less than 15 days. After drying, samples are drawn from each day lot, mixed in a bucket, and 1 kilo is delivered for evaluation at the quality control. We are able to see each and every bean in terms of samples. Without doing sampling, you'll not be able to know what you're producing in these vast fields. So through sampling, we analyze, evaluate, and then give feedback. When you're testing the coffees, we have 3 things in mind. We are looking at the farmer, how well have they managed the coffee bushes. We are looking at finance part of it, how much are we going to sell that coffee to? And then thirdly, whom are we going to sell those particular beans to, and when? So the direct export is an alternative to auction system. So it is a kind of a system that needs a lot of trust, that once you have entered into it, you don't come out just like that. So we've developed a good relationship with our clients, and as much as we are selling coffee directly, it means that our coffees get their own name. You are marketing yourself, other than selling in the auction whereby you lose your name and you lose traceability because your coffee is blended with others.
Our vision is to become a model specialty coffee farm in Africa. We want to be at the forefront of the agronomy behind coffee and the processing behind coffee to produce the best cup that we can. Our main challenge that we're facing right now on this farm is water and the lack of water that we have on the farm. We currently have 3 springs in the forest that are linked up all together, and this water flows into reservoirs on the farm. This water isn't enough to irrigate, so the main challenge we're facing now is we need to find water to get enough to irrigate so we can really be in full control of all the inputs on this farm.
We're already thinking in this direction because the outlook of the climate doesn't look promising. In the past 8 years, we are not seeing annual rainfalls hitting 1,000 millimeters average, and the coffee requires ideal rainfall amounts of 1,200 millimeters. That would be perfect for coffee farming.
Being in control of all of the field inputs is absolutely necessary to be able to produce specialty coffee.
You have a feeling you don't want to let the people who drink coffee down. You want to give them the best of what you can see. That has been the passion of the coffee grower. You don't want your beans to be damaged by pest. You don't want your tree to be damaged or to look bad. And you want to end up with the good beans, and you want to sell the good beans. That is the tradition of coffee. And we go all the extent to get there. So we do have many challenges, but those challenges in the coffee farm, they're always making the next season better and better.